Right now, on to the point. As rent prices increase across California,
a DOJ lawsuit is accusing a software company of possibly increasing rent in California cities, including Sacramento, and impacting landlords and tenants.
Plus the new federal worker cuts just announced and the ruling handed down from a judge. A elementary school counselor accused of sexually assaulting children, the concerns about there possibly being more victims. And later, Champions of Hope, how a group is offering a helping hand to those in our community.
Good evening. Thank you so much for joining us on To The Point. I'm Alex Bell, and we start tonight with a possible reason why the rent is high. Some of the country's largest rental companies and a software company have been accused of a pricing scheme in an antitrust lawsuit that a California congressman is bringing back to light. ABC 10's Jeannie Nguyen joins us now to explain what's going on and how it could impact you.
Alex, California and other states have sued a software company and major property management companies of unfairly raising rent. According to the lawsuit, some of these property management companies have impacted areas like Sacramento, Stockton, and Modesto. Congressman Josh Harder tells me he wants to work with the Trump administration to help reimburse some of these people who have unknowingly been paying high rent.
We have a saying, the rent eats first, and I mean that's still very much the case.
Shanti Singh is with Tenants Together, a California organization that advocates for renters. With the rising cost of living in the state and an ongoing housing crisis, Singh says it's problematic to see some companies allegedly taking advantage of renters, using software to artificially and unlawfully raise rent in the state.
What's really sort of sinister about the RealPage issue is that a lot of tenants don't necessarily know that this is happening to them. It's clearly happening at a significant enough scale to be worried about it, but it's hard to make that connection.
In January, the California Department of Justice sent an amended lawsuit to include 7 property management companies and the company RealPage, saying they participated in algorithmic pricing schemes that harmed renters. California is one of 10 states that filed the lawsuit. California Attorney General Rob Bonta says this lawsuit is his attempt at holding RealPage, property management companies, and landlords accountable who possibly profited by increasing rent prices. Now, California Congressman Josh Harder is speaking out.
We're living with the repercussions of high rental prices every day, and it's outrageous that this investigation shows that Stockton is one of the worst culprits for these corporate landlords.
Congressman Harder says property companies in Sacramento and Modesto have used the software to set rent, and he's demanding accountability. He wants to work with the Trump administration to find a solution.
First, we have to make sure that these corporate landlords who have engaged in illegal activities to raise rents are held accountable. Second, I want to make sure that they have to return those artificially high rents back to the renters who paid them in the first place.
RealPage tells ABC 10 it's filed a motion to dismiss the lawsuit and that its software does not violate antitrust laws or fix prices in any way, adding its products are built to be legally compliant.
All right, bringing in Jeannie, who's been following this for us. Now, you reached out to the California Rental Housing Association. They represent rental housing owners. What did they have to say about this whole case?
Well, Alex, the organization says it does support policies that expand housing supply and affordability and acknowledge data-driven tools and software can be helpful, but setting rental prices must comply with fair competition laws. Now, the organization tells me it'll continue to work with stakeholders and policymakers to ensure a fair and sustainable rental housing market. I have posted their full statement on our website at abc10.com.
All right, Jeannie, thank you so much. And we also want to mention, here's what Zillow says is the average cost of rent across California is. A 1-bedroom, about $2,150. A 2-bedroom, $2,750. A 3-bedroom, though, $3,600. California's average rent is about 36% higher than the national average, which sits at about $2,010. New tonight, a federal judge in San Francisco says the mass firings of federal probationary workers by the Trump administration were likely unlawful. The judge says the Office of Personnel Management, which sent notices to thousands of employees, has no authority to hire or fire any employees but its own. This decision grants temporary relief to a coalition of labor unions and organizations that sued to stop the Trump administration's mass cuts of the federal workforce. And developing tonight, multiple sources tell the Associated Press that weather forecasters and other Federal NOAA employees on probationary status have been fired. Federal workers who were not let go say this afternoon that the layoffs were in the tens or dozens so far, and that also included meteorologists. Now, we are working to learn some more information. We will keep you updated as we get that information into our newsroom. We're also learning tonight that the Social Security Administration is preparing to lay off at least 7,000 people from its workforce. A person familiar with the agency's plan says that it could be as high as 50%. It's unclear how the layoffs could impact beneficiaries of Social Security. President Trump and the UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer met at the White House today. Starmer brought him a letter from King Charles inviting Trump to a second state visit. The two also discussed ending the war in Ukraine, and it comes ahead of a high-stakes meeting tomorrow between Trump and Ukrainian President Zelensky. The UK has announced a big increase in the British defense budget and agreed to help enforce peace once a deal is made.
We don't have a deal. We have Russia, we have Ukraine. I think we're very well advanced.
We've already indicated that we'll play our full part in making sure that any deal, if there is one, and I hope there is, and I think this is a historic moment to make sure it's a lasting deal.
Trump and Zelensky have struck an economic deal giving the U.S. share of Ukraine's rare earth mineral deposits. Ukraine hopes the U.S. will continue to provide military support. The two leaders are set to sign that deal during tomorrow's meeting. While in the Oval Office with the UK Prime Minister, Donald Trump also addressed his plans to impose more tariffs. Trump says there is a plan to impose 25% tariffs on Canada and Mexico starting on Tuesday. He also says that he will double the 10% universal tariff charged on imports from China. He says these taxes would force other countries to crack down on drug trafficking.
Drugs come in through Mexico. They come, a lot of them, not all of them, but a lot of them come from China. And that's why we did that. I think eventually you're going to see drugs stopping, because the country should not be allowing those drugs to come into the United States of America.
Trump also indicated that European countries could face a 25% tariff as part of his reciprocal tariffs, which he says will go into effect on April 2nd. People worry escalating tariffs could hurt economic growth and make inflation worse. Over on the ABC 10 Plus streaming app, we are breaking down this week's political headlines with California Democrat and Republican political insiders. Here's one moment where we're talking about those tariffs.
Something very similar was done in 2018, and by 2019, those tariffs were removed. What he's looking for is a more level playing field for the United States when it comes to working with our trade partners.
Roger, what are your
I just thought it was interesting. Again, he talked about this week about how whoever signed the last trade deal with Canada and Mexico, it must have been a fool. He was the one who signed that last trade deal with Mexico and Canada. So sometimes it feels to me like Trump's negotiating against himself. But I think these tariffs are a negotiating tool. I think, Craig, you've talked about this before. This is his way of pushing Canada and Mexico to come back to the bargaining table and get more preferential treatment for the United States than he had in his previous deals.
Roger Salazar, Craig DeLuce, and I also discussed many other things like DOGE, the federal firings, wildfire aid, and potential impacts of the Trump-backed budget bill. You can find our full conversation called Trump and California on the free ABC 10 Plus TV streaming app. You can also download it to your TV by scanning that QR code that's right on your screen in the corner. Still ahead on To The Point, a new tool in the sky, how drones are helping to monitor emergency situations out in San Joaquin County.
As promised, today was the warmest day of the year so far, in the middle 70s, but temperatures downhill from here. We'll talk about that after the break.
Plus, award-winning actor Gene Hackman and his wife found dead in their home. Tonight, what a search warrant is revealing about the investigation. All right, let's check in on your weather with meteorologist Brendan Minchef joining us. Yesterday, he told us that it was the warmest day of the year.
That's right.
We're going to go ahead and say now today was the warmest day of the year. At 75, right?
And you always have to say, 75. Yes. You always have to say so far.
So far, yes.
Obviously, 75, not going to be the hottest day of the year when it's all said and done. But, we're still only about 2 months through it. So, 75. That's what we got to this afternoon downtown. Yesterday, we were 72. Last Saturday, we were 71. So now 3 times in 2025, we've been in the 70s. Today was the warmest day since October 27th of last year. Temperatures right now are in those mid to upper 60s, still fairly warm at this hour. 66 in Sacramento, 68 Stockton, 68 in Modesto, 67 Roseville, 64 Jackson, 63 in Placerville, 39 Truckee, 41 in South Lake Tahoe. If you're waking up early on Friday morning, almost done with the work week, we're going to have a little bit of a mixed bag. We're going to see some low 40s. We'll see some upper 40s as well, just depending on where you are across the valley. 45 in Sacramento, 48 Stockton, 48 Modesto, about 50 in Tracy tomorrow morning, 44 Fairfield, 49 in Vacaville, 50s in the foothills, 20s up in the high country. We'll have some clouds overnight. Tomorrow's going to be the last day in the 70s. Not quite as warm as today. A lot more low 70s I expect across the region tomorrow. Some areas still going to be fairly warm, though. 78 up in Colusa, 77 Marysville. I've got about 72 tomorrow in Sacramento, 74 in Elk Grove, 72 Stockton, 73 in Modesto, 70s in the foothills, 50s in the high country. The pattern is changing, though. Some clouds to end the week. Then Saturday night, we've got some rain coming in. Sunday's going to be widespread rain across the valley. Snow levels as low as potentially 5,000 feet on Sunday. Total snow in the Sierra, likely 6 inches or so on the high end in the valley, maybe half an inch of rain. It's not a lot of rain, not a lot of snow, but definitely is going to be a pattern change. We're also going to see a pattern change in Southern California with rain for the Oscars, both before, during, and after the ceremony. So Sunday is a weather impact alert day because it is big changes from what we've had. You also see at the end of the forecast there, we're going to lose an hour of sleep before too long.
Next on To The Point, a school counselor accused of sexually assaulting children. The concerns about there possibly being more victims. Plus, how a new tool in San Joaquin County is helping to prevent emergency situations. Taking emergency preparedness and response to new heights. That's what the Office of Emergency Services in San Joaquin County is trying to do with a new drone program. ABC 10's Gabriel Porras has a firsthand look at this new technology.
This is not your typical drone.
It's one of the thermal imaging cameras.
But then again, Jordan DeStefans' team at the San Joaquin County Office of Emergency Services doesn't deal with typical situations.
We can do search and rescue. We've trained on that. We've done open water training with different rescue operations, as well as being able to provide actionable data to incident commanders on scene.
Like during this fire a week ago inside a Woodbridge home undergoing pest control treatment.
We were able to provide thermal imaging to them.
From thermal imaging to LiDAR imaging.
It's basically being able to collect elevation data.
Jordan says the fleet of 3, soon to be 4 drones is not just for emergencies.
Everything from hazard mitigation, so coming out here on the levees to identify issues before they become a problem.
When the levee here on Victoria Island partially collapsed back in October, it was all of these acres of farmland that were most at risk. But in a county where there are hundreds of miles of similar levee systems, in some communities the threat is much more serious. That's why officials are hoping this new tool will help mitigate that threat.
So this is saving the engineering firms and the reclamation districts a lot of time. We're able to come out and map a levee in a couple of hours.
But the team has to be called out by the reclamation districts first, at least for now.
Currently we have 3 drone pilots in the office and 2 in the training pipeline. We've really just gotten our feet under us.
For abnormal situations on the ground, now a state-of-the-art tool in the sky.
Office of Emergency Services is here to continue to expand our emergency response capabilities.
In San Joaquin County, Gabriel Porras, ABC 10.
In total, the drones cost about $101,000. Right now, the drones can fly for about a half hour, but the new one that they're waiting on will be a fixed wing drone, and it will be able to fly for about 2.5 hours. An elementary school counselor has been arrested for allegedly sexually assaulting multiple children in the Sacramento area. Sacramento deputies say Won Young Kim assaulted 2 students at an elementary school in Carmichael, where he was working as a counselor. The San Juan Unified School District tells ABC 10 that Kim had been on leave since September of 2024. That same month, Roseville police began investigating an incident involving Kim and a minor at Bayside Church in Roseville, where he worked as a youth leader. Now, the church sent us a statement saying, in part, in September, the first and only incident was an awkward and inappropriate text exchange between Kim and a minor. Within 24 hours, we immediately notified the parents, filed a mandated reporter notification and a police report, and removed him from his role with having any contact with students. Deputies believe that there could be some more unreported victims. If anyone has information about this investigation, you are asked to contact the Sacramento County Sheriff's Office with details. Developing tonight, police are investigating the mysterious death of legendary actor Gene Hackman. The 95-year-old and his wife, they were found dead in their New Mexico home along with one of their dogs. Melissa Don has the details for us tonight.
An investigation into the mysterious deaths of legendary actor Gene Hackman and his wife, classical pianist Betsy Arakawa. Police say a maintenance worker had gone to the couple's New Mexico home and found the front door open, but there were no signs of forced entry.
I think we just found one deceased person inside a house.
According to a search warrant, sheriff's deputies found Hackman on the floor in a mudroom, Arakawa in a bathroom with an opened prescription bottle and pills scattered. One of their dogs was found dead about 10 feet away. 2 other dogs were found alive, one in the home, one outside. Police saying the bodies showed no signs of trauma, but the search warrant saying their deaths were suspicious enough for a thorough search and investigation. The Santa Fe City Fire Department didn't detect any carbon monoxide, but police say the bodies appear to have been there for some time, and any CO that may have been there could have dissipated.
There was no indication of a struggle. There was no indication of anything that was missing from the home or disturbed. That would be indication that there was a crime that had occurred.
Hackman was 95 years old, his career spanning multiple decades, earning him many awards, including 2 Oscars, his first for Best Actor in the film French Connection.
I don't buy that, Irv. The stuff is in that car.
He also stood out as Lex Luthor in Superman and a beloved basketball coach in Hoosiers.
If you put your effort and concentration into playing to your potential, to be the best that you can be.
He had that presence that filled up every inch of the screen. So the minute Gene Hackman came into a scene, your eyes were drawn to him.
And years ago, Hackman was asked by GQ magazine how he wanted to be remembered. And he said, quote, as a decent actor, as someone who tried to portray what was given to them in an honest fashion. And if you do want to hear more about the investigation into Hackman's death, we have streamed the sheriff's full press conference on the ABC 10 Plus streaming app. You can find it on our homepage. Next on To The Point, Champions of Hope, how a group is helping to give those in our community a boost of confidence. We know that in news, stories are filled with challenges and hardships, but incredible things are happening every day, from neighbors helping neighbors to inspiring acts of kindness. Each week, we're going to be sharing stories of people that are really making a difference in our community. Tonight in our Champions of Hope, we're introducing you to the Black Hair and Hygiene Project that's helping give people a boost of confidence.
Smells so good.
Simple hygiene items often taken for granted.
This here is Palmer's cocoa butter. This is great for your skin. I actually use this.
Are not forgotten for Faye Wilson Kennedy. She knows that feeling good in your own skin is important for everyone, especially those struggling with homelessness.
People will say, well, why don't they go get a job? You can't go get a job if you don't look well, if your hair is not cared for.
More than 3 years ago, Faye, who had been working with the unhoused in Sacramento, co-founded the Black Hair and Black Hygiene Project after learning many unhoused people didn't have what they needed to care for their skin and hair.
We came up with the idea that that's something we could do on a volunteer basis. So many of us early on actually purchased the items ourselves out of our own pocket.
A need, she says, is noticeably present in her community.
And we found that the largest population of the unhoused, both locally, statewide, and nationally, are people of African descent. We don't turn anyone away, so we make sure that there's lotion for everyone, soap for everyone, but we particularly focus on folks of African descent.
The Black Hair and Black Hygiene Project makes supply bags filled with lotions and...
This is for your hair, kind of like leave-in hair conditioner where you don't wash it out. For people of African descent, because of the texture of our hair and our skin, the products we use are a little bit different than what most people use. I like the little smaller container.
ABC 10 visited Faye and her group back in December during a donation drive. They break down and bag products to serve as many people as they can.
What we do is scoop it out and put it in a smaller container. Each gift bag will have 2 to 3 of these in there.
To help people and their skin feel good.
It's not so much about beauty, but it's about protecting your hair. For us, it's more preventive. And of course, we want everyone to look good also.
And not forgotten.
The Black Hair and Hygiene Project will be hosting another event tomorrow to distribute products from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. at the Shakur Center at 3230 Broadway in Sacramento. So if you want to find ways that you can help, or if you want to donate, you can always visit clapsac.com. And look, we know there are so many more stories waiting to be told. So if you know someone that's making a difference in your community, we would absolutely love to hear about it. You can always share a story with us by emailing us at tothepoint@abc10.com. Together, we can keep spreading a little positivity, one story at a time. Thank you so much for joining us. I'll see you tomorrow.